So about a year, actually a year to date um, from today, I decided to give away my car and to only walk and use public transportation for a year and see what happened or see how my life changed. And it did change. I could not have guessed how. I was doing it for several reasons. One, I wanted to get a little bit more fit, maybe lose some weight, maybe counteract some aging that was going on, and get stronger to carry myself better into the rest of my life. And the other reason was I was seeking a little bit more connection with nature or the world or the people in the world, my neighbors, my community, and I felt a little disconnected. And so it seemed that being out in the city amongst everyone might help that. And the third reason was I wanted to explore some different ways of doing art than I had been doing. So a year later, almost to the very day, things have changed. I could not have guessed how they were going to change and when they were going to change, but I can tell you that I really did get stronger, and I was feeling way more connected, and I was absolutely sure that that decision was the best decision I had ever made. I still do feel that way. That's my conclusion. However, at the moment, even though I am filming this while out walking, I am walking with a walker, and I am learning to walk all over again because I had a freak accident about 6 weeks ago in which I broke my back. And it is ironic that it happened on a bus and that I still feel like only taking public transportation and walking is the best decision I've ever made. But it really has nothing to do with, I mean, I could have been in a car. People have accidents in cars every day, probably more so than buses. They can be laying in bed and die for that matter. So it really didn't happen. I mean, it happened on a bus. Probably wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been on that bus, but it did happen. And it's been, in some ways, awful. And in some ways, it has helped me reorganize my life once again. I got cleared yesterday to use my walker and walk either to the coffee shop, the library, or the grocery store. And although it is a tad painful, it is very rewarding to be out here again. It's very comforting to be out in the world again and not in my apartment waiting to feel better. And I think it will help me. And I'm really grateful that all that walking I did made me as strong as I was, because I think that's what helped me recover start to recover as fast as I did. I don't know what I would have done if I had had to try to maneuver even getting in and out of bed without some strength in my legs and arms and from all the working out and swimming and stuff that I had been doing. So I am really grateful for that. In any case, back to walking. I'm walking very slowly today, and I am going to the coffee shop. Yesterday, I made my first outing. I went to the grocery store. I got some bananas, and then I decided I was way out of my comfort zone and I needed to get home, and I came home. So today, the adventure is to the coffee shop, and I might do a little bit of art. I need a new direction. It's been a little bit hard lately with my back injury to not focus on what I can't do. Like even the last 4 or 5 videos and art healing series that I've been working on have been about what I cannot do it at the moment, and what I want to do, which is, you know, be more mobile and get into my garden and walk like I used to and be more physical. I can't do that right now. But what I can do is focus on what I can do. And that becomes difficult when you have some kind of level of pain that makes you either want to take medication for it or sit around and you feel like the pain won't let you do what you want to do. I have decided that I can't live in that world and that the pain actually gets a little bit worse when I sit around and allow myself to focus on it. Doesn't mean I'm going to be more active than I should be in terms of my healing. I'm not. I'm going to do what I need to do to heal. I'm going to rest and exercise and do my physical therapy and things like that. But I don't want to mope around anymore. And so today I looked at the bananas that were rotting or starting to ripen and rot in my kitchen, and I haven't felt like doing much of anything lately, and I made a decision that I will choose several things every day that I can do, either with pain or that don't create pain or that might even be worth a little bit of the pain to be able to do. I'm not going to push myself to the point where pain injures me more than, where I push myself to the point where whatever I'm doing injures me more than I've been injured. I'm going to be mindful of that. But I want a new focus, at least in part of my day or however I can manage now, that is about the things I can do and doesn't focus on wallowing or sitting around worrying about the things I can do at the moment. I cannot do the steps and get out into my garden at the moment. I cannot walk and ride the bus like I used to. I can't do art the way that I've always done it because I'm usually a lot more physical in the making of art than I can be right now. Whatever I make now generally has to be done on my lap or in a brief sitting at the table. And so I have to modify that, but I can still do it. So today I'm taking the bananas and I am going to dry them and think more about all the things that I can do right now. And along those lines, as much as I was sort of in despair, not like horribly depressed into despair, but certainly aware of the fact that I was a little bit distraught over my plans for an active, healthy, artistic, creative life going forward were being sabotaged by this injury, or so it seemed. And so I felt like something was being taken from me that I really wanted. And I am adjusting my thought process around that because it's not doing me any good to stay in that headspace. And I am switching to thinking that somewhere in this backbreaking event that I just had is a gift. And I am on a mission to find it. And I have a feeling, because I've had to physically go quiet with my activities, that I have been allowed some more headspace, whether I asked for it or not, to contemplate some changes, more changes in my life than I was planning on. I thought I had it pretty well figured out, and then life happened, and now I'm adjusting. So today I woke up and I thought, what if this was exactly what was supposed to happen in order for me to figure out what's next? I think that's probably true. If I'd had more time, I might have been able to find a more likeness, but just as likely I might have ruined it because sometimes I overwork things. So I'm pleased with this start and I can't wait to do some more portraits. Thanks for watching.